I'd rather see raw Trey than injured arsonist play. Can we like start a petition? Just want to say thank you for everything you guys do. You guys gave me the courage to start my own Niners podcast. Abraham,
Awesome.
thank you. My God, bless you both. Go Niners. That was nice.
Yeah, that was very nice.
Go for it. I want to see it. Calling at OT right now if Trey don't play. Porn star Jimmy G going to lose this game. Calling it right now if Trey don't play. Porn star Jimmy to lose this game.
Maybe. I hope you're wrong.
It's not going to come down to him. If the Niners are smart, it's not going to be about him. Which is to why I say, like, okay, can't we get like can't they just play 11 on 11? I don't understand how Jimmy Garoppolo's just veteran presence in the huddle overrides 11 on 11 football. If all you want to do is run the ball. But again, veteran, it's an intangible that you just can't quantify, I guess.
Here's the thing, Grant. You just said something that I think is very key. You said if the Niners do it right, then they won't have to overcome him. Yeah. He's going to insert himself in this game plan. Grant, they asked him to do nothing last week. I said this in your post game. I sent it out as a paid message. They asked him to do the bare minimum, and he did less. Somehow he did less. He's going to insert himself in the conversation.
The only thing that gives me confidence for the 49ers is that they beat this team passing 8 times 2 years ago. So Kyle knows he can do it. And honestly, there's no reason for him to deviate from that game plan. If he deviates from that game plan, then he played himself. Jay said, played yourself. If I'm another team, I'd call the Niners bluff when considering a trade for JG. You can't risk absorbing 25+ million of cap space on injured arsonist Jimmy for draft capital of substantial value. That's how I feel. I still don't see how this market exists. I'd love to. It seems like the Niners want it to exist, and their fans want it to exist, and the media is doing all they can to help John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan create it. But I don't see a team being like, yeah, man, that's what we need. The Patriots felt that way until they just found the same thing, 10 years younger, mid-first round. They're like, whatever. He's not quite as handsome, but I guess he can do the same stuff. So we'll just take Mac Jones.
Yeah, he can do the same stuff and maybe a little bit more.
Yeah. I get the hesitation in starting Trey, but the question that lingers for me is how bad does it get before Jimmy gets the hook? I don't think he's going to get the hook. I think they're going to put Trey in if the season's over. That's the only way. I don't think they want Trey to be the savior. I think they want
or Jimmy gets like actually injured and cannot play. Then of course Trey will play. But yeah, they don't want to play Trey Lance.
What the hell? Why ain't I been notified about the live streams? Notification bell is on. All missed this one and the one earlier, and Jimmy needs to go. And that I'm still getting the notifications on my own. I don't know. What about you? No,
I get the notifications. Yeah.
Sorry, man. I'll talk to the proper channels. CT Law says half broken thumb, now a sprained shoulder. I'm just saying, how bad does Trey have to be for Kyle to play a guy with multiple injuries over him?
And that's the thing too. I think people say if this, then that a lot. Well, if Jimmy's this injured and they're not playing Trey, how bad is Trey? And I think these two things are very separate. I think they just want to play with Jimmy. Kyle trusts Jimmy for whatever reason. We don't trust him, but he trusts him more than he does a rookie at this point. I don't think it's any indication of how good or bad Trey is. It's just Kyle is old school and doesn't like playing rookies unless he has to.
Well,
and this is where we're
especially
at.
Rookie quarterbacks. But look at this
especially
way.
Rookie quarterbacks.
How good and how promising must Trey Lance be if the 49ers plan on trading Jimmy Garoppolo no matter what he does the rest of the season?
Right.
About that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't think either question actually brings you closer to the truth, but I'm just trying to point out the opposite of your question, CT Law. I used to be on Jimmy's side, but after the weekend, I don't trust him anymore. You trusted him before? Wow, that's noble. I used to say a win is a win, but I realized it was the team who's winning. Fair enough. Eddie Marco's been writing in for a while. I appreciate you for sharing your emotional Jimmy Garoppolo journey.
It's good. It's nice to see because I think a lot of people are at this spot, Grant, where they say, well, we won, so who cares? We won. Like, why are we talking about this? And it goes back to week 1 and week 2. Remember when the 49ers won those weeks and we kept saying bad things are about to happen? Yeah. And then bad things happen and people were so mad that we kept talking about it.
They won a wild card game? Like, really?
Right.
If they won the Super Bowl, that's another thing. But they won a wild card game. It's fair to say they won for this reason, and it was a close game because of this one reason right here. I think that's fair. And everyone's like, why you got to say that? Why you got to bring that up? It hurts his feelings. Like, dude, it's professional sports. This is the way it is.
Winning doesn't mean that all things are right. And yes, They won, no doubt about it. Happy about that. We're just saying if Jimmy continues to be the Jimmy he's been in 5 of his last 6 starts, eventually they're going to lose. And this is probably the week that it would happen.
Jonathan says, and why the hell does J-Nay look like John Lynch 2.0?
I get Tim Tebow. I get Fred Durst. I don't even know who I look like. I don't know who I am anymore, Grant.
Abu Marco 23 says, watch the highlights of both of Cap's playoff game against the Packers, 181 rushing yards at home, 98 at Lambeau. His runs looked effortless, a card that beats anything A-Rod can muster. That's what I'm saying. Well, I feel like Lance could do that to this team, run right through the middle of them for big gains. Man, it just seems like if you want to run the ball, it's like a no-brainer, but I'm taking crazy pills all year. I understand, like, the theory, like in theory, why you played Jimmy Garoppolo, but none of those theories work out in practice. He's experienced. He doesn't play like it. He's older. He makes rookie mistakes. Like, you want to run the ball, he's not a factor. I just don't get it. I mean, if he were a game manager and the one thing he could do is like not turn the ball over, I would get that. But he doesn't even do that. He is the worst player on the offense, the biggest liability on the team. It's not even close. Who's a bigger liability on this team that doesn't play special teams than him? Not Ambry.
No.
Not K1. No. It's him. It's him. He is the biggest liability on this team. And just because he's like likable and plays quarterback, people give him credit. They say he wins games. No. The Niners overcome him and win games. Can we stop saying that he wins? I'm sorry.
Hey, here's the other thing too. I've got a friend who's a Packers fan, very knowledgeable, very, very knowledgeable. And he told me when Jimmy Garoppolo, the shoulder injury thing came out, he goes, I hope he plays. And I said, well, why is that? He goes, because we can't stop running quarterbacks. We have a problem with mobile quarterbacks. It's been a problem for a while, and it's still a problem. So if Trey Lance plays, he's worried that they can't stop Trey Lance because they can't contain mobile quarterbacks. Well, there you go.
Young Doc says, what do you think about a team making a package for our OC and Jimmy?
I don't think it'll go that way. They'll just hire the OC, and if he wants to bring in Jimmy, then they'll bring in Jimmy.
I wonder if Miami's interested in Mike McDaniel because Tua is so much like Jimmy, and they're like, well, could you like build a run game that would just do everything for Tua since Tua is so weak? And then he'd be like, yeah, I probably could. Probably could do that. I did it for Jimmy.
Yeah,
they're very similar to Tua and Jimmy. You know what I mean?
Are.
Like, really don't really have much of arm. I mean, you could say they have a quick release and they're accurate, but their arm isn't much and they're brittle. Other than that, they're pretty great. How do you think Mosley and Thomas will hold up against the Pack? It's not the Pack. It's freaking Adams.
Yeah.
Adams.
I have a little nugget that I threw out on Twitter just a little bit ago, but I noticed when I went back and I rewatched that game, right after Jimmy G threw the backwards fumble pass thing that he did, the Packers had a 3rd and 4, obviously in the red zone because Jimmy put him there, but they moved Mosley to the opposite side. He actually traveled with Adams, and the 49ers don't do that. So I don't know why they didn't do it on the final drive.
Game at that point.
Right, but on the final drive, they had Lenore on him. So I don't, again, just an interesting wrinkle to think about. Maybe it's something they do in key downs and situations for this game. May not, but something to look out for.
Would porn star Jimmy still start if his arm was in a sling?
Yes.
But no, because if it were a serious injury, he wouldn't. But Kyle keeps being like, look, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that. Isn't that what he's saying? It's not that big. I was like, not like, hey, I'm not in his body. Out of respect to him, you got to ask him. Like, he's like, I mean, you could call it a break, but it's just a sprain. I mean, it's basically his, what are we, his whole attitude the last few weeks is like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Really talking about this kind of thing? Do you know how many of my players have injuries that are more serious than this that aren't being talked about? What posturing is? That's the vibe I've gotten from him.
Yeah, I think it's another sign that it's coming out of Jimmy's camp.